Sometimes when the day awakens unhurriedly, there is a kind of silence that seems to breathe first of all. It's as if the world, for a moment, took in its own breath to remember that nothing it needs to be pushed into existence. The light comes slowly. The wind does not compete for space. The water doesn't try to overcome the path. It simply follows. And in these simple, discrete details, there is an ancient wisdom that many forget. There is a way to walk without pressure and still achieve everything you really want. Matters, not because we force it, but because we flow. Not because we accelerate, but because we listen to the invisible rhythm that guides us. Maybe you feel this too. A feeling that life demands less rigidity and more space, less control and more trust in what beats behind things. It's as if each step needs to be light enough to hear the ground, and firm enough to recognize that there is a way, even when the eyes don't see it right away. There are those who live like rocks, hard, tense, always on alert. And there are those who live like wind, soft, attentive, capable of touching everything without hurting anything. But contrary to what they say, softness is not weakness. Gentleness is wisdom. It's understanding that life opens doors when we stop pushing them. It's realizing that too much force cracks, too much pressure is tiring, and too much speed takes us away from what we are really looking for. Today, I invite you to enter that space between one breath and the next, walking with me through a territory where effort does not appear as a burden, but as a presence, where the invisible speaks, and where time is not an enemy, it is a companion. If you feel like there is something silent yet alive guiding your days, this video is for you. And now, take a deep breath, because what we're going to explore next isn't a technique, a rule, or a promise. It's just the natural path of what moves without being pushed. There is a moment in the morning, when the wind has not yet decided where it will go. He just touches the leaves as if awakening an old memory in them. If we observe carefully, we will notice that there is no rush in his movements. Even so, he transforms what he touches. It's curious how something that seems fragile, a breeze, has the power to move the world silently. Softness has always been confused with weakness, but everything that truly sustains life is born and grows through it. The moss that covers the stone does not dispute territory, and yet it defeats time. The water that runs down the mountain does not impose itself, and yet it carves the most resistant. The light of dawn does not invade, it only reveals itself. Everything that is truly strong begins like this, discreet, humble, patient. We, however, have learned to do the opposite, tightening our shoulders, contracting our minds, pushing life forward as if we were always below expectations. We carry rigidity as if it were a shield, when in fact it is just a weight. And the more rigid we become, the less we can perceive natural movement of things. Incessant pressure makes us lose what nature repeats every day. What flows goes further than what forces. Softness is a silent intelligence. She observes before acting, listens before responding. It bends before it breaks. And so it finds paths where rigidity only sees walls. Maybe that's why so many people feel tired. It's not because of a lack of strength, it's because of its excess. We try to support the world alone, when in fact the world has always known whether to move without our interference. Life doesn't need to be pushed. She needs to be accompanied. When we stop hardening our soul, we begin to realize that the path opens up yourself. And here something essential emerges. By allowing yourself to be soft, you don't lose power, you gain it back. Softness returns sensitivity, returns rhythm, returns instinct. It's like getting back in tune with what was already inside but which was stifled by the demands of the modern world. Because deep down, true achievement does not come from tension, but the lightness with which we walk. When we look closely at a river, we realize that it rarely follows a straight line. It curves, goes around rocks, slows down in some parts, speeds up in others, and yet, it never stops moving forward. The river does not argue with obstacles. He simply recognizes them and adjusts his path. This is the wisdom of flow, moving without war, without unnecessary effort, without breaking yourself by trying to be stricter than the world around you. Modern life, however, has taught us to think like rocks, immobile, tense, resistant to change. We try to control everything: agendas, results, deadlines, emotions, even the cycles that don't belong to us. And in doing so, we lose the natural instinct to go with the flow that already exists. Anxiety arises from this attempt to swim against the current. It's the body screaming that can't keep up with a mind that tries to dominate the world. That should never be dominated. In nature, nothing forces its own existence was going. No tree demands to grow faster. No mountain tries to be higher. No wave argues with the tide. And yet, everything happens. Harmony arises from this deep acceptance. The river flows because it does not try to be another course. Just follow yours. When we act without forcing, something inside aligns. Gestures become lighter. Choices gain clarity, and situations begin to change. Resolve with less friction. It's not giving up on acting. It's about acting with the moment, not against it. It is the natural movement of life guiding our steps, as if an invisible current was always taking us to the next right spot. And this is where our spiritual midway reminder comes. If this idea resonates with you, it's a sign that something inside has already awakened, because maybe you've already felt this. That moment when life seems to conspire in favor when you simply, relax your chest and stop fighting over time. That impression that when you trust, everything is organized in a way that your effort would never achieve. Going with the flow is not passivity. It is wisdom. It is recognizing that the current is older than us, and that it knows paths that our eyes still don't learn to see. When we walk in harmony with it, each step becomes a natural continuation of the previous one. Nothing is lost. Nothing is forced. Everything fits. There are moments when the soul seems loaded with invisible dust. It is not a physical weight, but a fog that accumulates little by little. Expectations, comparisons, promises that are never fulfilled, demands that echo even in the silence. And when this fog settles in, the world becomes less clear. The steps become heavier. The decisions become more blurred. The heart tightens. Therefore, since very ancient times, purification rituals were born as a gesture simple and profound, returning clarity to the spirit. The water running over your hands doesn't just remove visible dust. It also takes away what no longer belongs on our path. It's as if every drop says, let go. Release what hardens. Let go of what weighs you down. Let go of what you carry just because you have become accustomed to the weight. When water touches the skin, it reminds us of what we forget. Everything that clings too much loses freedom. Everything that holds on too much loses its lightness. Modern life has taught us to accumulate goals, ideas, demands, versions of ourselves that no longer make sense. And the more we accumulate, the less space there is for the new to enter. Letting go is not abandoning dreams, but releasing the excess that prevents them from happening. Breathe. It's emptying your chest so that life can circulate again. The breeze that passes through the afternoon carries nothing with it, and that is precisely why it is free. She plays what she needs to play, goes where she needs to go, without attachment to the moment previous. If we lived like this, we would realize that many of our sufferings do not come from life itself, but the insistence on holding on to what should have already been left behind. Hope sometimes also purifies itself, not by giving up, but by recognizing that the path is renewed when we accept a change of direction. Letting go doesn't mean losing, it means to breathe. It means trusting that there is a greater movement guiding our steps, even when we still can't see your drawing. With each detachment, the spirit becomes lighter, like a branch that, when freed from the weight from the snow, it finds its true shape again. And when this purification happens, something silent awakens. The senses begin to perceive again, the mind returns to listening, and the heart finds that internal space where everything is reorganized naturally. Life continues to flow, but now within us too. There is a moment of the day when the fog rests over the world like a veil. It doesn't hide completely, but it also doesn't reveal it immediately. It is an in-between place where forms gently undo and only emerge again when they are ready. If we walk through this fog carefully, we notice something essential. Nothing there is in a hurry to show itself. Each contour appears in its own time, following a rhythm that cannot be hurried. So is the invisible force that guides our lives. It is not a loud voice, nor a clear order. It is a discreet pulsation, a breath that passes between thoughts. When we silence the enough to hear it, we often seek immediate answers, urgent solutions, certainties that can be held with hands. But the inner world does not speak this language. It expresses itself like fog, approaching and revealing only what we are ready to see. Modern life takes us away from this rhythm. We spend hours chasing perfect decisions, trying to anticipate all the scenarios, calculating each step as if existence were a logical mechanism. And that's exactly where we get tired, not by walking, but by walking in disagreement with what the Spirit asks. There is a cadence of our own within each of us, and when we ignore it, we miss out. In tune with the natural movement of the path, the silence heat is the key to this reunion. He is not the absence of sound, but space, a territory where answers emerge without us needing to rip them out. When we retreat for a few moments, not to escape, but to listen, we discover that the invisible has always been guiding us, even when we believe it is alone. It is in this silence that decisions become clear, relationships settle, intentions align. Just as the fog dissolves when the sun decides to touch the surface, our uncertainties, they also dissolve when we stop insisting on controlling them. The less we force, the more we see. The more we trust, the more the path lights up. The invisible requires no effort, just presence. And when we follow this inner rhythm, each step seems to find the right place. Not because we plan too much, but because we tune into what has always been there, trying to guide us. It's life saying, in silence, listen, you already know where to go. There is a tree that grows on the side of a mountain that few visit. She doesn't know she's growing up. It does not know that its roots seek water, nor that its branches stretch towards the sun. She simply lives, and yet it becomes strong enough to face winds, storms, and winters whole without ever losing its essence. The tree does not achieve anything through imposition. It conquers because it remains faithful to its own rhythm. This should also be our path. But we were taught to believe that evolution is synonymous with pressure, that achieving it requires tension, that progress only happens when we sacrifice more than we have. We live with our bodies cramped and our minds racing, as if the world is going to fall apart if we weren't constantly pushing everything forward. And yet, life's greatest achievements happen like the tree, in silence, in gradual, almost imperceptible, but deeply true way. There is a strength that is born when we stop putting pressure on time, when we stop demanding that everything happens now, immediately, perfectly, when we understand that each choice has its own cycle, its own maturation, its own invisible time to blossom, and that rushing this cycle is like trying to open a flower before it opens on its own. In the end, we only hurt what should blossom naturally. The no-pressure path is not an invitation to passivity. It is an invitation to presence. It is acting with conscience, without anxiety. It's moving forward lightly, without carrying the weight of other people's expectations. It is to keep walking, not to prove something, but to honor the silent movement that already lives within us. When we live like this, each step stops being an obligation and becomes the alignment. And then we discovered a simple truth. What is born calmly remains. What is born in a hurry is destroyed. Projects that grow at the right time last. Relationships that mature without haste flourish. Dreams that respect their own rhythm find fertile ground. When we trust the natural cycle of life, we realize that we are not late. We are exactly where we should be. And that true strength never comes from pressure, but from the serenity with which we walk, even when the path seems uncertain. It is in this state of lightness that the world finally opens up. When night finally rests over the yai world, everything returns to its simplest state. The light dims, the sounds withdraw, and even thoughts seem to walk more slowly. It is in this silent territory that we perceive something that has always been there, but only reveals itself when we finally slow down. Life never required us to run. We were the ones who created too much of a rush for a road that was made to be felt, not conquered. Every step you've taken so far belongs to a greater cycle, a rhythm that the world knows better than us. And now, looking back, perhaps you realize that the most important things, they happened precisely when you didn't force them, when he breathed, when you left space, when you allowed the invisible to touch your choices. This is the true movement of the spirit. What does not rush but arrives. What not imposes itself but transforms. The path before you continues, always open, always silent, always inviting. And there is no need to carry old pressures or other people's expectations. Life doesn't ask for speed, it asks for presence. And when we walk with this gentle presence, we find that we have achieved much more than we imagined, and we lost much less than we feared. If this video touched something inside you, sign up and continue walking with us along the path of the soul. There are many steps still awaiting their light, and each of them can be taken without rushing, no wait, no internal war. And before we leave, I leave you with a question that may resonate with you for longer than words can last. What if what we call destiny is just the whisper of the kami who give us? Have they been with you since birth?